Good morning and a happy Sunday, my artsy friends. Today is all about gcquill alcohol markers and its accompanying coloring book. Now, we have already done a few illustrations with the set and posted them to the channel. So with that, let me welcome you back to another thrifty review. To kick things off, we're going to take a final look at the markers in use before I jump into reviewing them. For this composition, I wanted to illustrate something common to me. I do this a lot when an idea about what to draw or paint seems to elude me. This one is of a tube of gouache up close and personal. I wanted to paint an imaginary tube that sort of resembled a Holbein tube. Now, I did a Google search and simply used the result page as a reference for the project. As usual with our review video demos, I'm going to cut out at this point, for I will save all thoughts about the set for the review section. So the gcquill 121 color alcohol marker set. The packaging is actually a really nice box that has super bold graphic on it. And you guys know I am a sucker and a stickler for really bold, beautiful graphics as far as branding is concerned. So I was really drawn to the box. Now, I received this marker set as a gift. If I'm not mistaken, maybe for my birthday, or maybe it's Christmas, somewhere like that. But it was a gift, and I've been testing or kind of playing around with the idea of the markers for a while, just to see. And I do have some things that I'm going to share with you guys. So the packaging simply says gcquill dual tip colors markers, 121 colors, and then it shows just a small diagram of the two tips, which in this case you get a brush tip and a broad tip. So this is a budget set of brush tip markers that we are talking about. Other than that, on the very back of the box here, you're going to get dual tip color markers, the alcohol based and quick drying ink colors, blends and layers easily. Warning, this product contains small accessories. Please use under adult supervision. And then it gives that information in many other languages. The only other thing here is please recycle, in that the product is made in China. And that is all of the information presented on the outside of the box. I love the little bow wrapping. I think this whole concept is so cute, very appealing for kids, but attractive to adults and coloring book enthusiasts, I do believe. I was really, like I said, attracted to the branding. So inside the box, you're going to get 121 dual tip markers. Now, I will go ahead and tell you that the inking system is based on the Shinhan alcohol ink system, and we will look at that a little bit more in just a moment. So here you are going to get a triangular gray barrel marker, which I think is pretty attractive and sleek. I love the way they luster. I didn't find any issues with any of the printing on any of the markers. Seemed to be all there. Color marker, alcohol based, non-toxic. It gives you the emblem showing the brush end as well as the broad end, and it says gcquill with their logo. The caps for each of the marker is actually pretty secure and removes easily at the same time. Now, like other alcohol markers, I did experience a little bit of splatter with some of the markers as I opened them, but that was sort of an attestament to the fact that the ink level was pretty full, and we're going to get to that in just a moment as well. So here you're going to have a dual end marker. Excuse me. You're going to get your brush tip, and you're going to get your chisel tip or broad tip. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you that the chisel broad tip is pretty standard. I did not find, I found its pressure, or in its feel, should I say, on the paper to be pretty standard. The standard stiffness and hardness that I would expect for a chisel tip. And I can see it wearing out in the standard time that it would take a normal foam chisel or broad tip to wear out before you would need to replace it. Now, as far as the brushed end is concerned, with that being said, let me grab the colorless blender so I can show you this. As far as the brushed end is concerned, now this is a economical set, so this is not the best brush tip on the planet. It does give a little bit of flexibility, but it's not super flexible as you would expect from your higher end markers, such as, say, I don't know, your Shinhan or your Pro markers. Like, those are going to have better, these foam nibs perform well, give moderate flexibility, but they will wear out over time and need to be replaced. With that said, you can actually remove the nibs. As you can see here, turn it up before I waste anything out. We have our standard brush nib, dual tip. So once one end wears out, you can take it out, flip it over, and then continue to work. So it makes having to replace, lessens the amount of time you would need to replace one nib. And as you can see, it is your standard nib, so you can buy packs of refills to put in the marker because the hole there is the standard barrel marker size. Pretty decent size ink pad down on the inside, which happens to be full of ink, and I'm sure it's pretty absorbent based on what I can tell from the marker. So I'm gonna put that back down in there. All right. And the same thing about the chisel nib, it can be removed, as you can see, and that's your standard chisel. So it can be replaced as well. And of course, these can be refilled because you can clearly see the marker pad, which makes it not only budget friendly, but a twofer because it's a budget-friendly set to start off with which is based on a pretty decent inking system, which can be refilled from the inking system it's based on, because they do make refills for Shinhan alcohol inks. And it's a handsome barrel, so refilling it and continuing to use it over and over would be a great thing. Now, it came with a coloring book included, and that was the only thing inside the package. And I did do some testing of this particular marker paper in order to get ready for this review. So let's just kind of look at some different things here. First, let's take a look at the swatching. So I swatched all 120 because one of them is a colorless blender out in my Ohuhu marker pad book. I really love this marker paper. It is less slick like a traditional marker paper and more absorbent like, say, a mixed media paper. And I tend to do a lot of my alcohol ink work in this particular book. Now, the book that came included with the alcohol marker set itself is more traditional, has more of a sleek surface to it like a traditional marker paper. Maybe not as slick as, like, say, the Koh-i-Noor paper or even the Shinhan paper, but definitely it has a much slicker and less absorbent surface than the Ohuhu marker pad book, or say a mixed media paper if you're used to working on that. So I did want to point that out. I will pour out my Shinhan, not Shinhan, but my Sanjoki. Now this is the Sanjoki alcohol marker chart, which is also based on the Shinhan alcohol system. And I just wanted you to see that the color numbers correspond and look exactly the same when you correspond the matching numbers from this set to this set, which again, most budget sets are kind of going to be based on this inking system. So it really comes down when you're buying an alcohol marker set to the barrel, the design, the comfortability of the hole, the type nib they're using, the flexibility of that nib, whether it's replaceable. Is the marker juicy and full of ink? Is it on an inking system that can be replaced? So these are the type of things that you're looking for, especially when you look into budget grade markers. Okay, so all of those got swatched out. We got some really nice, beautiful saturated colors. I didn't have any issues with any of the laydown. Let's look at some things that I did here as far as, I did a live where we were playing around with alcohol markers. I think it was a live. And I'm trying to get this first page open. And here I was just kind of testing some layering ability of the marker to see how one color could be layered and build on as far as saturation and complexity was concerned. And I'm going to show you that in one of the illustrations, or actually you saw that in the illustration that we did earlier in this video. Here I was just testing the flexibility of the actual brush nib, the lines that I could create from thick to thin using both the brush and the chisel tip from thin to broad. So the amount of detail that could be done per nib, and I was kind of just doing some little emblems here to let me know what I was using. Really found them to be very responsive. Here did another, this was a blend test where I blended 3 different blues. I wanted to see how the marker ink would blend together, whether there would be big jumps in colors as far as color family goes. Now, what I will say is that I do think that this is a pretty comprehensive set. There were not a lot of times that I felt like I was missing a color per se. Now, there are some families where the jump in the colors, or should I say the undertone of the color, is huge. But for the most part, I feel like it's a pretty cohesive set. You're going to get some really nice bright pastel colors that are going to help you with blending as far as laying down your first layer and lightening colors. So I found that to be very helpful. We have a really nice range of browns and just overall yellows, greens, oranges to make beautiful earth tones. There's some nice brights if you want to do flowers and florals. You have a really nice range of cool grays, a pretty decent range of warm grays, and you get a few blue grays and green grays included as well. So all said and done, this to me is a really nice set of alcohol markers that kind of hit on points all over the chart as far as things you would be looking for in an alcohol marker set without it having a huge price tag. So let's look at some of the things that I did with them. So here's just a little piece of peppermint that was done in a live, I believe, Patreon, where I was just kind of playing around with the markers. Again, no issues with blending. It actually layered pretty well on this paper. I will have to say, you know, the ink tended to pool and puddle a little bit more than I'm used to with the marker paper, but I think that's attributed to the fact that it has a little bit slicker of a surface than I may be used to. That's not to say this is a bad thing though. Let's see, there was an illustration that went up on the channel not too long ago where we did the cheesecake. Beautiful experience. I had so much fun doing this one. The browns just, oh, it was easy to work with the markers overall. Now, I will say that this paper does not take a tremendous amount of layering, but you can definitely get your point across. I did try to use some colored pencils here, but I really did not feel like any of the pigment was actually sticking to the project, so I just kind of abandoned that. But overall, as far as being included with the 121 markers, I think it's kind of a comprehensive starting set and a comprehensive place to begin, especially if you're new to alcohol markers, if you're looking for a backup set or a travel set. Now, of course, today we did this illustration, which again, I enjoyed. I have enjoyed every experience with these alcohol markers. For some reason, I just feel more comfortable using them than I do the Sanjoki set. And maybe that's because with the Sanjoki set, I've experienced a lot of ghosting using those. Like, I've experienced a lot of ghosting. And I don't know if it's the paper, but every time I've used the and see, that's not Sanjoki, so I didn't get any ghosting. Let's see. Now, this was the start of a composition I was doing with the gcquill markers. I haven't finished that one. I need to. There's another composition in here that we did on the channel as well. Okay, so we did this one on the channel with the gcquill markers, which was a fall leaf. Another enjoyable experience. This is done with Sanjoki, a mixture of Sanjoki and a mixture of that Darnassus set. And as you can see, the part that I used the Sanjoki marker on, I got ghosting. Ghosting on the back of the page from this as well, because this was done with the Sanjoki marker. And ghosting on this page from the, so again, I don't know ghosting here. And it only happens when I use Sanjoki. All of that was Sanjoki. But again, nothing of the sort with gcquill. Nothing of the sort with, I think this is like maybe 5 Below markers or something. So, I don't know, it just seems to be something about that Sanjoki ink that does not agree with me, I guess, which is why I think I prefer this marker set much more. One final composition, I used the marker set in combination with watercolor on this really economical Grumbacher mixed media paper. And I just did a couple of quick sketches where I was using alcohol markers and a set of handmade watercolors. Just see what type of compositions I can do, because I'm planning out a future live using those two in combination. And again, I think the markers worked beautifully in a mixed media environment here, where I was blending them with a water-soluble product. So overall, friends, I think that this is a really robust, comprehensive set that, you know, has pretty decent nibs that are replaceable, barrels that are nice and are refillable if that's what you choose to do. I do not think you can go wrong with them. Now, of course, if you already have an alcohol marker set that you are happy with, then I always start by advising you to use what you have. You do not have to run out and buy anything. I recommend, especially if you have something that works and works well. Use that up first and then maybe consider something of the sort. Now, this marker set is currently gonna run $39.99, which I feel for the quality that you're getting, which is what I would expect from your standard economical set of brush tip alcohol markers, hitting all of the highlights and the checkpoints, making them reusable over and over and over again, being combined with the all ready to go little starter, you know, book that you can use. So you're gonna get you some paper right off the bat with it that is pretty workable. No, not the best paper in the entire world, but you can definitely build compositions on it with no problems. I'm actually gonna use up the rest of the paper in that book. With that running $39.99, I do not think that is bad at all. Now, when you look at that in comparison to the Sanjoki 120 set, which again is going to be $39.70, so they're pretty much the same price, and both of them are going to give you some paper to start with. I just think I recommend this set more than I recommend the Sanjoki set, because based on personal experience, I have not experienced as much or any ghosting with this set, and I've experienced quite a bit of ghosting with the Sanjoki set. So there you have it, guys. On a star scale of 5 stars, as the gcquill alcohol markers would get a 4.5 from me. I think this is a great buy or a great gift to give someone who uses alcohol markers as a medium. So there you have it. Hopefully you heard, saw, picked up on something, or just enjoyed hanging out with me in this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Share the video. Sharing is caring, and maybe someone else would love to hear the information on this alcohol marker set. Jump in the comment section, my friends. Share with me. Let me know what you think. Have you used the alcohol marker set? Do you like it? What do you think if you haven't? Have you experienced ghosting with the Sanjoki alcohol marker set? If you haven't, I really want to know. Maybe I'm the only person, and if so, I'll live with that. But I'm just curious about the audience. And let me know what you think of today's video. If you are new to the channel or returning and you haven't subscribed, do consider hitting that subscription button. The like button and the subscription button is going to help get this channel out in front of a wider audience as we try to build and grow here in the thrifty community. So friends, I'm asking for your help. Thank you. Hit the notification bell. It'll let you know when new content is coming out. And you can always check the video description for all of the relevant links, including the link to our very first branded product, the Bamboo Voyager palette. Thanks so much, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And remember, as I tell you at the end of every single video, just keep creating.